People, I'm led. And I've been asking my husband for time to get through this, because it's going to lie down, and the first thing he says to me, no later than 11 o'clock. I've eaten one time since morning. He's usually feeding me, so he makes his toast. He called me for toast and whatever. So I've eaten one time properly from morning. I came across this, and I'm doing it because a couple of years ago, my son done a fundraising for a classmate of his. As you can see, it's all about football, and I'm getting really emotional now, and my hand, I can feel my hand shaking, so I know it's my anxiety that's been triggered. I just see this Luton Shelton was diagnosed with, I can't pronounce it, but it's some neurological condition, and that was the same kind of condition that Damien Father Green had. So I supported my son with what I do, and what I do is social media, putting things like this around social media on my websites and stuff like that. So I've just posted that in there because that's how I'm going to get my voice heard as well, because as you can see, there's no notification. I get blocked out only when it suits Facebook to put things in here to make milestone out of my whatever. I've stopped accepting friend requests for ages, because most of who's sending me friend requests, I don't know them. Nobody's engaging with me, so what's the point? And then even when my family put things there and I try to engage, I'm getting blocked out. And the more Facebook push me, is the, for want of a proper word, I'm gonna get tough. Right, I'm just gonna quickly scan through. So that's a funeral I attended, so I'm just gonna quickly scan through how I do social media, yeah, before I actually go do this, because I just need to get clarity and to get my life back together as quickly as I can, yeah, because 7 years of my life has been taken away because of discrimination. And then it's gonna start. Okay, I'm gonna carry on. So you see how I do therapy, and for me, writing, just putting things there, keeping engaged, was part of the therapy that kept me going. There were times when I would be here and I feel like going out, and I just get dressed up and go Walworth living room or wherever there were things going. By the way, that's I'm going back. My son posted that. So it's the backyard. Part of my backyard is in the pond. Yeah. The sun setting. So these are some pictures of my early life. This is my first job in the early years, these children. My grandson is there as well. That's my grandson. That's mom's funeral. So I use a picture to tell stories, and that's the end. So now I'm going to read my horoscope. And it says, Russell Grant, copyright Horus. A task assigned to you will not be as easy as it looks. You sense someone is expecting you to fail, and this will make you all the more determined not to. You intend to prove to anyone who doubts your capabilities exactly what you can do. And I've put these here this morning, because I needed to document what happened after I got the phone call. and leading up to the decision by the Metropolitan Police about my complaint. So I'm starting here and going along there. So this is the interview in that packet. This is some information from Southwark to do with COVID, because this will feature a lot in whatever I'm doing from now on. So this is summary of Mrs. Mervelee Myers' meeting at Southwark Police Station. Yeah, when they came here on the 30th. When they said did not come to interview me, I turned around. I was sat there. The folder was on there. I turned around to show the officer. She shouted at me, that wasn't what we come here for. And that was it. That's the only conversation I can remember. Proper conversation I had with Holly Sweeney. When she shouted at me, that's not what we come here for. You're going to be arrested. Only conversation, proper conversation I can remember. That was the first conversation. I remember her saying you're not allowed to use the phone. And then by the time I walk and reach there, it was total chaos. Not much yet. So there's some more information, because as you can see, this folder alone is for the police and the IOPC. That's how I can manage my life. Yeah? Over here, that's my son, the one I spoke about. So these are the page 3 of ITV News Windrush 70, and that's page 1 and 2. All right, I'm going along here because over here, that's how I can manage my thingy until I work out how to set up my work studio. So as you can see, this is the HCT Group Impact Report. I was so proud of my picture being there. I didn't think about 1 in 5 of all suicides are associated with unemployment. That was used to make me a victim. Here is something that I done when I studied with Lambe College, and that's when I was advised that I could use my assignments for my first book. And I was advised to go to university. Because of domestic violence and what I was going through, that didn't happen until later when I studied with Open University. So this is a booklet I made, Sky News Visited, as you can see. And this is the last project I was involved with when I done my LSA training. So I was told, after I'd finished my LSA training, I was told to volunteer with HCT Group so I could get to train as a teacher to teach 16-year-old to adults. It never materialized, all because of the partnership between London Early Years Foundation and HCT Group. So this was, I think, either the Nursery World Show or the Early Years Childcare Expo. I got one of this because I was talking to whatever you see there, because I still had it in mind after the conversation I had with Professor Chris Pascal and Tony Bertram about doing my training for my as a SEND teacher. So these are some, I was on the training to be on the housing association, my housing association something or other. See, I'm going to show you. So here it is. Can you see what I'm looking at? So I brought the plants in from outside, and see the snail. It's I'm going to take it off. Yes, so that's a snail, people. My co-worker Tanya Silva eats snail. Former co-worker. So you know everything live. So I'm gonna leave it there until I hope it doesn't go anywhere until I'm finished. I put it outside. So I came in with the plants and see where it reached. So I miss my chain of thought. Right, so as you can see, I never stopped doing training. So I was saying I had a conversation about doing my SEND teacher certificate with Professor Chris Pascal and Tony Bertram at Leaf Childcare Conversation on the 19th of September 2015. All this was posted on LinkedIn, and then by the 22nd, I was called to central office and suspended again. And that led to where I am now, the nervous breakdown. So as you can see, I done whatever is going, I'm always there. So I was a Time for Change champion. This is I set this up from one of the conference. Yeah, Leaf said they have no data for me. What else do I need to do? So I'm going to go across here. It was Trevor, my stepson, who sent me information about Windrush because he thought maybe it would help me. The other pages are somewhere about, residents in the UK. Windrush doesn't really apply to me, but he's always seeking ways of helping me because he knows of my struggles. So these are some paperwork. I'm digitalizing things so I can get things out of the house and chuck out because they are cluttering up and contributing to my disability. Yeah. So, okay, as you can see, that's another place I work, Asquith Court Nurseries, preschool and nursery. That was in Stockwell. So that's my name badge. This is my folder with some documentation. And as you can see, my chronic anxiety diagnosis 2016. Here, over here, it's this place. I let the picture speak for itself, and something that I cut out from the paper 2015, November 2015, workplace bullying costs Britain 18 billion. Eh? And here it ties in here now. And just in case I forget and don't come back here, naturalization. So when Sergeant Patel is going to ask me about if I have British passport, as I says to him, it's for me to know and him to find out. So this is something that I got. I have everything. I'm going to focus over here on what I've laid out here. Yeah. Here is the judgment that I've gone through with a fine tooth comb years ago before I handed it over to Ryan Clement for him to prepare the EAT, I think. So as you can see, I've written up, help him to do whatever, took my husband's money, judgment has been passed for him to pay back, and now. So then I'm going to be using it in conjunction with our decision about your complaint. And I'm just going on. I've done that and it's online. So this is the amendment to investigation meeting, because I just don't let anybody put words into my mouth and interpret like that PC Neil Solis did, because there were a couple of emails going between me and him when he first decided that the title for my complaint was They Behave Like Hooligans, and I said no way, that cannot be the title. So ended up with 3 titles, and I remember him in one of the emails when I pointed out, I said I do not want anybody to say what I didn't say, because I know how they operate. If you didn't say it or whatever, they use their rules of law against you. So he sent back in the email to say, it's like the cover of a book. You don't know what's in it until you read it. Well, he's obviously needs to go back to early years setting, but I'd advise him, don't go to leave. He'll get abused. And in particular, since the police was not able to carry out what they were supposed to do, to murder me, and said I committed suicide. And so they were not thinking that they need to use any PPE, because dead man tell no tale. Yeah. So this is, I am writing to advise you of the outcome following the disciplinary hearing you attended on the 7th April 2015. I was advised by the union not to appeal. And then my husband said, no, nothing can go like that. So I eventually paid for somebody to help me write it. But luckily, me being proactive, had actually finished, do my own. So by the time it came, it would have been too late. But I do appreciate having the professional thing. I can always have it to look back on to help in what I'm doing. Right, so this is the work-life support that was filled by Dilly Sipton. And here is where I pointed out the discrepancies. Yeah? So I'm going through. Anywhere you see the markings and writing is where the discrepancies are. One thing I do training. Yeah? Any training going, I make sure I do. Yeah? Right, so this would be the one for the disciplinary appeal. Yeah, the name there is Louise Cooper, because I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a special podcast about Louise Cooper. Is this the Louise Cooper that I saw started working in the Daily Express, and when I started raising concern, she disappeared? Is she the same person or a different Louise Cooper? I'm like that. I'm going to show you this bag, because I've got this bag from probably 2004 when I started studying at the Open University. So this was what I got the laptop in, and it has served me ever since. It's torn, and see, I do my own fixing. It's black, so you won't see much. Right, so these are some paper I've set out because I'm digitalizing everything and decluttering. So this would be a listing of whatever documents I would have put in what I prepared. I'm going to do a podcast about ACAS. Yeah? And the reason I'm going to do a podcast about ACAS is the fact that I was part of Maria Hudson's research paper recommended to ACAS, and I doubt very much it was implemented. The experience of discrimination on multiple grounds. So I'm going to do a podcast because I have a recording from Mary Shanahan on my phone, because they were all linked in to help Leaf to discriminate against me. So it's me against the world. Right, so this is how I go about seeking support when I needed it. So there's stopping someone vulnerable from being scammed. When I tell you the years I've been locked in here, yeah, I have gone out of my way, making videos, doing everything. Nobody pays any attention. Right, so this, I put this here, an extraordinary man with a beautiful mind, Professor Stephen Hawking. And the reason I put that there is to remind me of my contributions to London Early Year Foundation building brand. And the first project I carried out for June O'Sullivan, the June O'Sullivan who sanctioned the discrimination that leaves me now in this situation that I am. I'm only surviving because of God. Yeah? 21st of the 8th, 10. Mervelee. Hello, Mervelee. I need your help. I'm doing a research project with June. The research is A Voice of a Child. I'm going to be in on Thursday, cross out Wednesday, and I have booked you out all day. This is the plan. Exit interviews, Christian, Fion, Tommy. Complete the exit interviews with the children and film it. Children's planning meeting, small group of children, 4 and film. I suggest that you get yourself familiar with the video recorder and practice before Thursday. Smiley face. Any queries, please do not hesitate to call me. I don't mind. Julie, something for your PPD. I think it should be PDP, Professional Development Plan. Research for ESERA. So that would be Tony Burcham and Chris Pascal. Yeah? So see from when I'm doing work for June O'Sullivan, for her to turn around and do what she's done to me. So another bundle of documents that I'm going to just get rid of. I've done some of them already. And this is to tie in with what the police has done. I don't throw anything away. So I have those and I photocopy. Yeah? And this was when I was let down. And that's when I decided that that's it. I can't go through any more of these pressures. So I'm just going to work for my pension and give up my best. So I'm just going to put this in context so you understand the way I take safeguarding as my responsibility. Yeah? So see, I was part of Mine, yeah? You, Mine, will be given 2 weekly updates from Mervelee, my EYFS coordinator, and of course myself in person. Today letters will be given out to parents. So as you can see, she gave me her email when I meet with her at London Leave Big Child Care Conversation, where I meet Professor Chris Pascal and Tony Bertram. They gave me their thingy. I'm just going to read this now. All right, before I read that, so this is my subject access request, and there is my medical report that I handed to Judge Freya in court. Yeah? More leader liaison practitioner. I was not accepted. This is when I introduced myself at Bird in the Bush, and as you can see, I was saying about how I keep records. So as you can see, this would be when I moved here, and I made sure I follow procedures. I don't go against the law because I'm just not made for that type of thing because of my chronic anxiety. So there, replicate of whatever. So these are the original. As you can see, Brixton Police Station, Walworth Police Station. And this was when I applied for my first data protection access. So in here are more things. So I need to digitalize what I need to digitalize. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so I'll do other podcasts. Now I'm going to read this so you understand. See the snail is crawling away. See? Yeah? I want to put it outside. I'm not going to murder it, yeah? I'm not in a murdering mood tonight. It deserved to survive. It reached from wherever, whether it's there or the window, and it found its way there. It deserved to survive. Deserved to live. Right, so I'm just going to read this and wrap up. Tuesday, March 27th, 2012. Safeguarding vulnerability matrix. Because of the recent outbreaks of chickenpox in the nursery, I would suggest we suspend the visits to Penfold Street until things are back to normality. It is important that the team is aware of safeguarding issues that may impact on the well-being and welfare of both the young children in our care and the elderly residents living at Penfold Street. Right, so this is what my manager wrote. So I put the thanks there to end that. This is what my manager wrote. Good idea. I popped in. Spoke to them. Julie. All right. So I wrote that. There is cheese in the fridge for Monday something with the jacket potato. For Monday with the jacket potato and beans in the kitchen for lunch on Monday. Something order for yogurt and for Monday. Trishan. So Trishan was the apprentice at the time. So this in here is the manager's, and this is up there is mine. So I'm focusing on mine. At 2:05, I called 0207-6415470, the number Katie got from the internet for Penfold Street. I was directed to call another number, but I could not hear this clearly. Katie tried the number again, but no one was answering. Thanks, Mervelee. I do not leave anything to chance, because if something is in my head, it slipped out and it's gone. So do you understand why I said after the phone call on the 29th of November 2020, why I got up the morning and sat here, called the number, record it to be, that is part of my defensive practice. I don't take chance with anything from I was stitched up at King's College Hospital NHS Foundation Trust with claim that I breach confidentiality. How could I breach confidentiality if I done studies with the Open University 2004? I graduated, I finished my studies 2008, graduated 2009, went back and do top up 2010. You have to adhere to ethical guidelines. So I am particular, careful when it comes to those things. So that's why whoever has written this report, I'm going to take them to pieces. I am going to take them to pieces. And that's it, over and out.